I toss my keys onto the counter and shrug off my jacket, the weight of another grueling day bearing down on me. The house is quiet, too quiet. Usually, by now, she'd be in the kitchen, humming along to her playlists. Instead, there's an eerie stillness that raises the hairs on the back of my neck. As I climb the stairs to our bedroom, I notice a faint sound. A muffled voice? A giggle? My gut tightens as I push open the door. And there she is, my wife, tangled in the sheets with someone I don't recognize. Rage boils in my veins, a tsunami crashing against the dam of self-control. They scramble, her eyes wide with shock and guilt. He grabs his clothes, stammering some nonsense apology. I don't hear a word of it. My focus locks on her, the betrayal in her face unmistakable. What the hell is this? I demand, my voice trembling with suppressed fury. She doesn't answer, only pulls the blanket tighter around her like it can shield her from the consequences of her actions. The man bolts past me, his shoes in hand, leaving me alone with her. My fists clench as she finally whispers, "It's not what it looks like." Not what it looks like? I laugh bitterly. So, what is it then? A business meeting? A damn joke? She stammers, her voice trembling. It's not like that, I swear. I didn't mean for this to happen. Her excuses bounce off me like bullets against armor, but each word only fuels the inferno in my chest. I pace the room, my hands on my hips, trying to keep control. Not like that? You didn't mean for this to happen? I snap, turning to face her. You were lying in our bed with another man. Explain how the hell this isn't what it looks like. Tears fill her eyes, and for a brief moment, she looks like the woman I loved, the one I built a life with. But the image shatters as quickly as it forms. I was lonely, okay? You've been so busy with work, and she chokes on her words, but I cut her off. Don't you dare blame this on me. My voice is ice. You think I bust my ass day in and day out for fun? Everything I do is for us, for you. And this is how you repay me? She pulls the blanket tighter, her voice barely above a whisper. It was just one mistake. I shake my head, laughing bitterly. One mistake? How long has this been going on? Don't lie to me, because I will find out. Her silence is answer enough. My gut churns, the depth of her betrayal sinking in. You disgust me. I spit, turning to leave. But as I reach the door, a thought strikes me. No, you're not getting off that easy. Her eyes widen in panic. What are you going to do? I pause, looking back at her. I'm going to make sure you regret this for the rest of your life. I walk out of the bedroom, slamming the door behind me. My mind races, fueled by adrenaline and fury. This isn't just betrayal. It's a complete mockery of everything we've built. I can't let her walk away unscathed. Not after what I just saw. Downstairs, I grab my phone and start scrolling through my contacts. I call James, my closest friend and a private investigator. We've worked together before. He handles the shady work when I need dirt on a rival at the office. Now, it's personal. James, I need your help, I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. He doesn't even hesitate. What's going on? She's been cheating. I just caught her in our bed with some clown. I need you to dig up everything on her, and I mean everything. Bank accounts, phone records, hidden secrets, whatever you can find. James pauses for a moment before responding. You sure you want to do this? Once I dig, there's no going back. I've never been surer about anything in my life. We finalize the details, and I hang up. My plan is simple. Gather every piece of dirt I can, expose her lies, and hit her where it hurts the most. She wants to turn our marriage into a game? Fine. I'll make sure she loses. As I wait for James to get back to me, I pour a drink and sit in the darkened living room, staring at the empty space where our wedding photo used to hang. Memories flash through my mind. Our first date, the way she used to laugh, the vows we exchanged. It's all meaningless now. Every moment, every promise was a lie. My phone buzzes, snapping me out of my thoughts. It's James. You're not going to like this, he says, his tone grim. There's a lot more to this than you think. What do you mean? I demand. She's been siphoning money out of your joint account for months. Looks like she's been planning her exit for a while. And that guy you caught her with? He's not the first. A cold chill runs down my spine. How many? Too many, James replies. You've been played, my friend. I grip the phone tighter, my resolve hardening. Send me everything. Every photo, every text, every receipt. I want to know it all. James sends me a secure link within minutes. I open it on my laptop, my hands steady despite the anger coursing through me. The files load. Screenshots of texts, candid photos, and financial records. Each click reveals a deeper betrayal, a deeper mockery of our marriage. The texts are what hit me hardest. Messages between her and various men, filled with flirtation, promises, and explicit details. Some are recent. Others date back months, maybe even years. My stomach churns as I read her casual confessions of dissatisfaction and excitement over her secret double life. The photos confirm the worst. Dinners at expensive restaurants, vacations I was too busy to take, and moments captured in hotel rooms. The men are all different. Her taste seems eclectic. Young, old, clean-cut, rugged. It doesn't matter. They're not me. Then there's the financial trail. Money moved from our savings into accounts I didn't even know existed. Thousands of dollars gone, likely spent on her escapades. James included an analysis, noting that she's been methodically draining our assets for months. I sit back, the evidence splayed across the screen like a wound laid bare. This isn't just cheating. It's a calculated betrayal. She didn't just stray. She built an entirely separate life, funded by my hard work and trust. James calls again. There's one more thing, he says. His tone tells me it's bad. Spit it out, I growl. She's been in contact with a divorce attorney. The papers aren't filed yet, but she's been planning this for a while. Looks like she's trying to set you up to take the fall. Infidelity, emotional abuse, the works. She's building her case. My mind reels. She's not just betraying me. She's plotting to destroy me. She thought she could dismantle our marriage, walk away with everything, and leave me in ruins. Not a chance, I mutter, more to myself than to James. She won't get away with this. What's the plan? James asks. A cold smile forms on my face. She wants to play games? Then let's play. But this time, I'll be the one pulling the strings. The next morning, I'm up before the sun, fueled by rage and determination. If she's planning to destroy me, she's in for a surprise. I'm not just going to protect myself. I'm going to make sure she regrets ever crossing me. First, I call my attorney, Mark. He's sharp, ruthless, and has handled enough divorce cases to know every trick in the book. I lay it all out. The affair, the money, the evidence James uncovered. This is ugly, Mark says after I finish. But if we play it right, you'll come out on top. I don't just want to come out on top, I reply. I want her to lose everything. Mark's quiet for a moment. We can make that happen. First, we'll freeze the accounts. If she's siphoning money, we need to stop it immediately. Second, I'll file a petition to protect your assets. Third, we gather more evidence. The more we have, the stronger your case. I nod, even though he can't see me. Do it. As I hang up, I feel a surge of grim satisfaction. She wanted war? She's getting it. Next, I send James on a new mission. I want eyes on her 24/7, I tell him. I need to know who she's meeting, what she's planning, and where she's going. Every detail. You got it, James replies. By the time she wakes up, I've already started dismantling her game. She comes downstairs, dressed for the office, acting like nothing's happened. The audacity of it makes my blood boil. Morning, she says casually, pouring herself coffee. You okay? You seemed upset last night. I stare at her, barely able to contain my disgust. I'm fine, I say through gritted teeth. But we need to talk tonight. She freezes for a split second before plastering on a fake smile. Of course. What about? You'll see, I reply, my tone leaving no room for argument. Her smile falters, and she nods. Okay, tonight. She leaves for work, and I take the day off. There's too much to do, too much to prepare. Every move I make is calculated, every step designed to take back control. By midday, Mark calls with an update. The accounts are frozen, he says. She'll find out soon enough. Good. Let her squirm. James texts me shortly after. She's meeting someone at the Carlton Hotel. Want me to follow? Absolutely, I reply. The pieces are falling into place. Tonight, the first stage of my plan begins. She thought she could turn our marriage into a game. She's about to find out she's not the one holding the cards. By evening, I've set the stage. Every detail has been considered, every angle prepared. The evidence James collected is neatly organized, and Mark is ready to act the moment I give the word. Tonight, I'll confront her, but it won't be a simple argument. It'll be the beginning of her downfall. She walks in the door, her usual air of self-assuredness intact. But there's something different in her eyes, a flicker of hesitation, as if she senses the storm brewing. You wanted to talk? She says, setting her purse on the counter. I nod, motioning for her to sit. She hesitates, then complies, her facade slipping slightly. What's this about? I sit across from her, placing a folder on the table between us. For a moment, I say nothing, letting the silence stretch and watching her squirm. Then, I slide the folder toward her. Open it. Her brows knit in confusion, but she obeys. The color drains from her face as she flips through the pages. Screenshots of her texts, photos of her with her lovers, bank statements showing the money she's stolen. It's all there. Her mouth opens and closes, but no words come out. Care to explain? I ask, my voice cold. She stammers, it's not. This isn't. Don't. I snap, cutting her off. Don't insult me with lies. I know everything. Tears well in her eyes, but I feel no sympathy. I was going to tell you, she whispers, her voice trembling. I just didn't know how. Tell me what? I demand. That you've been cheating for months? That you've stolen thousands of dollars? That you've been plotting to ruin me with lies? Go on. I'm all ears. She looks away, shame finally breaking through her mask. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she says weakly. I laugh, the sound harsh and bitter. You didn't mean for it to go this far? Spare me. You made a choice, over and over again. Now, you'll deal with the consequences. Her eyes snap back to me, anger replacing her guilt. Consequences? What about you? You're no saint. You've been cold, distant. Stop, I interrupt, my voice low and dangerous. Don't try to turn this on me. You destroyed our marriage, not me. She slumps back in her chair, defeated. What do you want? She asks, her tone resigned. I lean forward, my gaze locking onto hers. You're going to sign over everything. The house, the cars, every dime you took. And you're going to disappear. If you don't, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are and what you've done. Your lovers, your boss, your family. They'll all see the truth. Her lips tremble, but she nods. Fine. I stand, the weight of victory heavy but satisfying. Good. We'll start tomorrow. As I walk away, I feel no regret, no second thoughts. She turned our marriage into a twisted game. Now, she's learning what it feels like to lose. The next morning, I wake early, energized by the plan unfolding. This is the day it all begins to crumble for her. I've arranged for Mark to draft the necessary agreements and set a meeting at his office. She has no choice but to comply. She comes downstairs, looking disheveled and defeated. I've seen her put on a brave face for others, but not this time. The weight of what's coming is already pressing down on her. Get dressed, I say firmly. We're meeting with my lawyer. She doesn't argue, just nods and shuffles back upstairs. An hour later, we're sitting in Mark's office. He's a shark in a suit, and the moment he begins laying out the terms, I see her composure crack. You'll relinquish any claim to the house, vehicles, and joint savings accounts, Mark explains, his tone clipped and professional. In return, my client agrees not to pursue legal action for theft or infidelity. Her eyes widen. Theft? I didn't. Mark raises a hand, cutting her off. We have sufficient evidence to prove otherwise. You're lucky we're offering this deal. She looks at me, pleading. Please, can't we talk about this? Privately? I meet her gaze, my expression unyielding. No. You made your decisions. Now you'll deal with the consequences. Tears spill down her cheeks as she shakily picks up the pen and signs the documents. I feel a pang of something. Maybe pity, maybe disgust. But it's fleeting. She brought this on herself. As we leave the office, she turns to me. What happens now? You pack your things and leave, I reply. You'll get a week. After that, I want you gone. She nods, too broken to argue. But as I watch her walk to the car, a thought occurs to me. This can't be it. She deserves to feel the weight of her actions in every corner of her life. That evening, I make another call to James. I need one more favor, I tell him. Name it, he says. Send everything we've got to her boss, her family, and her closest friends. Let them see who she really is. James hesitates. You sure about this? That's a scorched earth move. I take a deep breath, thinking about the betrayal, the lies, the destruction she tried to cause. I'm sure. James doesn't waste time. By morning, the first wave of destruction hits her world. Emails go out with the evidence, texts, photos, financial records, and summaries of her deceitful behavior. Her boss, her closest friends, her family, they all receive the ugly truth. I sit back with my coffee, scrolling through my phone as the messages start pouring in. First, from her mother. How could she do this? The text reads. We raised her better than this. I'm so sorry, I don't even know what to say. Then her sister. You're right to leave her. I can't believe what I've just seen. She's been lying to all of us. Each message fills me with grim satisfaction. She didn't just betray me. She betrayed everyone who believed in her. Around noon, James calls. You won't believe this, he says, barely able to contain his amusement. What now? I ask. She's been fired. Her boss got the email and called her into his office first thing this morning. Apparently, she was sleeping with a coworker, too. It violated company policy. I chuckle darkly. Serves her right. But that's not all, James continues. Her friends are cutting ties left and right. Words spreading fast. Good. Let her feel what it's like to lose everything. She thought she could walk away from this unscathed, but she underestimated me. When she comes home that evening, she looks like a ghost of herself. Her eyes are puffy, her face pale. She doesn't even bother trying to act defiant. You did this, she says, her voice shaking. I nod. I warned you. My job is gone. My friends won't even speak to me. My own family is disgusted with me. Was this really necessary? Was it necessary for you to destroy our marriage? I fire back. To lie, cheat, and steal? You thought you could play me, but you forgot who you were dealing with. She collapses onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. I don't know what to do, she whispers. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. But then I remember the texts, the photos, the bank statements. She didn't care about me when she was sneaking around and draining our accounts. She only cares now because her perfect little world is crumbling. That's not my problem, I say coldly. You have until the end of the week to figure it out. The end of the week arrives faster than I expect, and with it, the culmination of my plan. Her bags are packed and stacked by the door, but she hasn't left yet. She lingers in the kitchen, sipping a glass of wine like it's a lifeline. Her defeated posture almost stirs something in me, but I push it aside. She doesn't deserve my sympathy. I've given you enough time, I say, walking into the room. What's your plan? She looks up, her eyes red and tired. I don't know. I've lost everything. My job, my friends, my family. Where am I supposed to go? Not my concern, I reply flatly. You made your bed, now lie in it. She opens her mouth to say something, but I cut her off. There's one last thing. I pull a manila envelope from my briefcase and toss it onto the counter in front of her. What's this? She asks warily. Divorce papers, I say. You'll sign them before you leave. No arguments, no delays. She picks up the envelope with trembling hands, flipping through the documents. This isn't fair, she whispers. Fair? I bark a bitter laugh. You think what you did was fair? You think I should just let you walk away with half of everything after you destroyed our marriage? She doesn't respond, just stares at the papers. Finally, she picks up the pen and signs, her hand shaking with each stroke. When she's finished, she pushes the envelope back toward me and stands. Is that all? She asks, her voice hollow. For now, I reply. But don't think this is over. You'll feel the weight of this for a long time. She nods, grabbing her coat and suitcase. As she reaches the door, she turns back to look at me one last time. I'm sorry, she says softly. I don't respond. Sorry doesn't change anything. Sorry doesn't erase the lies, the betrayal, or the damage she caused. She waits for a moment, hoping for some acknowledgement, but I give her none. Finally, she opens the door and steps out, closing it behind her. The silence that follows is deafening. For the first time in weeks, I'm alone in the house. The weight of what's happened begins to settle in. She's gone. It's over. But instead of relief, I feel a strange emptiness. I shake it off and pour myself a drink. This is what I wanted. This is what she deserved. But deep down, I know this is only the beginning of rebuilding my life. The house feels larger now, each room echoing with a hollow silence. For the first time in years, I'm truly alone. And while it's liberating, it's also unnerving. I sip my drink and let my mind wander over the last few weeks, the whirlwind of betrayal, confrontation, and retribution. I grab my laptop and open the folder James compiled, deleting every file. The evidence has served its purpose. I've won the war, and there's no need to keep mementos of the battle. The anger that fueled me is starting to fade, leaving behind a mix of exhaustion and determination. The next morning, I wake early and head to the gym, something I haven't done in months. Pushing weights, feeling the strain in my muscles, gives me a focus I've been missing. Each rep feels like a step toward reclaiming the version of myself I lost in the chaos of our marriage. After the gym, I stop by my attorney's office to finalize the divorce. Mark greets me with a firm handshake and a satisfied smile. It's all in motion, he says. The assets are secured, and she doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. Good, I reply. I want this wrapped up as soon as possible. He nods, then pauses, his expression softening. You did the right thing, you know? Standing up for yourself. A lot of guys in your position would have let guilt or fear keep them from fighting back. I nod, but his words barely register. I'm not looking for validation or praise. I just want to move on. Back at home, I start clearing out the remnants of her presence. The framed photos, the clothes she left behind, the little trinkets she scattered throughout the house. They all go into a box. I'll drop it off at her parents' house tomorrow. For now, it sits by the front door, a physical reminder of the baggage I'm leaving behind. That evening, I sit in the living room with a beer, staring at the empty space where our wedding photo once hung. The anger has faded completely now, replaced by a quiet resolve. I've taken my revenge, and I've started the process of rebuilding. But there's still a long road ahead. My phone buzzes on the coffee table. It's James. How are you holding up? He asks. I'm fine, I reply. Just figuring out what comes next. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find me. Thanks, man, I say, genuinely grateful. For all the chaos, at least I know who I can trust. As I hang up, I take a deep breath and lean back. The battle is over, but the war to rebuild myself has just begun. The next morning, sunlight streams through the windows, casting a warm glow over the house. For the first time in years, the place feels peaceful. It's amazing how quickly her absence changes the atmosphere. There's no tension, no pretense, just quiet. My quiet. I throw open the windows, letting in the crisp morning air. Today feels like a fresh start. The box of her things still sits by the door, a nagging reminder of what needs to be done. I grab it and load it into my car, determined to close this chapter once and for all. Her parents' house is only a short drive away, and I'm greeted by her mother when I arrive. She looks at me with a mix of pity and embarrassment, clearly aware of everything that's transpired. I'm sorry, Jack, she says softly. I don't know what's gotten into her. She wasn't raised this way. I nod, keeping my emotions in check. It's not your fault. This is between her and me. She takes the box from me, hesitating. If there's anything we can do, there's nothing to do, I reply firmly. This is done. On the drive home, I feel lighter, as though the physical act of removing her things has lifted some invisible weight. But there's still work to be done. The house, the life we shared, it all needs a makeover. I spend the afternoon rearranging furniture, redecorating, and even painting the bedroom. It's therapeutic, taking control of the space and making it mine again. By the end of the day, I'm covered in sweat and paint, but the house feels new, like a blank canvas for the life I want to build. That evening, I sit on the porch with a beer, watching the sun dip below the horizon. My mind drifts to the future, to what comes next. For the first time in weeks, I feel a glimmer of hope. This isn't just the end of my marriage, it's the beginning of something better. I check my phone and see a message from James. Congrats on clearing the dead weight. Let's grab a drink soon. I smile, replying, "You're on." First round's on me. As the night settles in, I realize something profound. I'm not angry anymore. The rage, the bitterness, it's gone. All that's left is determination. Determination to move forward, to rebuild, and to never let anyone take advantage of me again. The next day, I wake up feeling refreshed, the first truly restful night in weeks. The new paint smell lingers in the bedroom, a reminder that I've taken the first steps toward reclaiming my life. The house feels less like a battleground now, more like a sanctuary. I decide to go for a run. It's been years since I've made time for it, but I need to clear my head. The rhythm of my footsteps pounding against the pavement feels therapeutic, each stride shedding the weight of the past. The cool air fills my lungs, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I feel alive. As I run through the neighborhood, I notice things I haven't paid attention to before. The changing leaves on the trees, the sound of kids laughing as they play, the simple beauty of the world around me. It's strange how betrayal can make you appreciate the little things, the constants in a chaotic life. When I return home, drenched in sweat but exhilarated, I find a letter in the mailbox. It's from her. My heart skips, but I quickly steady myself. I rip it open, scanning the contents. It's an apology, written in her familiar handwriting. She pleads for another chance, saying she realizes the depth of her mistakes and wants to rebuild what we had. I toss the letter onto the counter and grab a bottle of water. Her words don't sway me. They're too late, and the damage is irreversible. Forgiveness is one thing, but trust? That's something she'll never earn back. Later, I meet James at a local bar. He's already at a table, 2 beers waiting for us. "You look like a new man," he says as I sit down. "I feel like one," I reply, raising my glass. We talk about everything but her: work, plans, life. It feels good to focus on something other than the wreckage of my marriage. James leans back, studying me. "You're doing better than I expected," he says. I shrug. What's the point of holding on to anger? It's not going to change anything. The only thing I can control is what I do next. He nods, raising his glass. "Here's to the next chapter." We clink glasses, and for the first time in a long time, I genuinely smile. The betrayal, the heartbreak, it's all still there, but it doesn't define me anymore. I've got a long road ahead, but I'm ready to face it. The days start to blend together in the best way possible. Each morning, I wake up with a purpose: to rebuild, to redefine what my life looks like without her in it. The routines that once revolved around her are now mine to reshape. I start with the house. The bedroom has already been repainted, but it's not enough. I gut the closet, tearing out every last trace of her. The living room gets new furniture. Simple, clean, nothing flashy. The walls that once held photos of us are now adorned with framed prints of landscapes and cityscapes. It feels like I'm erasing her presence, one nail and screw at a time. I also return to old hobbies, things I'd let slip during the years we were together. My garage becomes my sanctuary again, filled with the hum of power tools and the smell of sawdust as I throw myself into woodworking projects. It's not just about building furniture, it's about rebuilding myself. One afternoon, as I'm sanding down a piece of oak, my phone buzzes. It's Mark, my attorney. "Got some good news," he says. "The divorce is finalized." She didn't contest a single thing. "Smart move," I reply, setting the sander aside. "What about the financials?" "All squared away," he says. "You've got full control of the assets we locked down, and she's on her own. You're officially free." The words hit me like a breath of fresh air. Free. It's strange how heavy a marriage can feel when it's built on lies. Now, that weight is gone. That evening, I decide to celebrate. I fire up the grill and invite James over, along with a few other friends I'd unintentionally pushed away during my marriage. The backyard, once a space for obligatory social events with her friends, now feels alive with laughter and the clink of beer bottles. "You look like a man who's finally breathing again," James says, raising his bottle in a toast. "I am," I reply, smiling. "It's like I forgot who I was, but now I'm starting to remember." As the night wears on, I realize just how much I'd lost in that marriage. Not just money or trust, but parts of myself. Now, those parts are coming back, slowly but surely. It's not just about moving on. It's about becoming the person I was always meant to be. The weeks roll by, each one bringing a new sense of clarity. With every project I finish, every old friend I reconnect with, I feel more grounded. It's like peeling back layers of a neglected life to find something vibrant and real beneath. One evening, as I'm finishing up a bookshelf for the living room, my phone buzzes. It's a number I don't recognize, but curiosity gets the better of me, and I answer. "Jack?" a hesitant voice says. "It's her." I pause, gripping the phone tightly. "What do you want?" She begins, her voice breaking. "I need to talk to you. Please. Just once." I take a deep breath, weighing my options. Every instinct tells me to hang up, but a small part of me is curious. What could she possibly have to say? "Fine," I say finally. "Tomorrow, noon, at the park." She exhales sharply, as if she wasn't expecting me to agree. "Thank you." I hang up before she can finish. Whatever she wants to say, it won't change anything. But I need to hear it for myself, to close this door once and for all. The next day, I arrive at the park early, sitting on a bench that overlooks the lake. It's peaceful, a stark contrast to the turmoil that brought me here. When she arrives, she looks different, tired, worn, like the weight of her actions has finally caught up with her. "Thanks for meeting me," she says, sitting down beside me. "Say what you need to say," I reply, keeping my tone cold. She fidgets with her hands, her gaze fixed on the ground. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she begins. "I know I don't deserve it, but I need you to know that I'm sorry. For everything." I stay silent, letting her words hang in the air. "I was selfish," she continues. "I thought I could have it all, your love, the excitement of something new, the security you gave me. But I was wrong. I lost everything, and I hurt the only person who ever truly cared about me." Her words don't soften me. They don't undo the damage. But for the first time, I see a glimmer of the woman I once loved. Not the manipulative, deceitful version, but the person she used to be. "I don't know if this means anything to you," she says, her voice trembling, "but I regret it. I regret all of it." I finally look at her, my expression unreadable. "You're right. It doesn't change anything. But maybe it's a step toward you figuring out how to be better." She nods, wiping away a tear. "Thank you for listening." I stand, ready to leave. "Goodbye, Rebecca." As I walk away, I feel an unexpected sense of closure. Not forgiveness. She hasn't earned that. But the anger that's fueled me for so long feels quieter now, like it's finally running out of steam. It's time to focus on my future, not her past. Walking away from her at the park feels like a final severing of ties. I'd expected to feel anger or bitterness, but instead, there's a strange calm. It's over. The door is shut. For the first time, I'm free to move forward without looking back. The following days are filled with unexpected clarity. Without the distractions of betrayal and revenge, I start noticing the little things I'd ignored for years. I explore the neighborhood more, picking up a morning coffee at a small cafe I'd always meant to try but never had the time. The barista smiles as she hands me my cup, and for the first time in years, I find myself smiling back. At work, I throw myself into projects with a new sense of purpose. My focus sharpens, and for the first time in ages, I feel passionate about what I do. My colleagues notice the change, offering comments like, "You seem different," or "You've got your spark back." I realize they're right. I do feel different, lighter, stronger. James insists on dragging me to a networking event one evening, promising it'll be good for me to get out and meet new people. I'm hesitant but agree. The event is held at a trendy rooftop bar downtown, and the atmosphere is lively, filled with the buzz of conversation and laughter. At first, I stick close to James, making polite small talk with strangers. But then I meet someone. Her name is Claire, and she's nothing like Rebecca. She's confident but kind, with a quick wit that keeps me on my toes. We talk for what feels like hours, and for the first time in years, I feel something stir. An interest, a possibility. As the night winds down, Claire hands me her card. "Call me sometime," she says with a smile. I nod, slipping the card into my pocket, unsure of what the future holds, but open to the idea of exploring it. When I get home, I sit on the porch with a drink, thinking about the night. It feels strange, thinking about someone else, but it also feels good. Like maybe, just maybe, there's a second chance for me to find happiness. The next morning, I wake up early and head to the garage. I've been meaning to finish the custom coffee table I started weeks ago, and today feels like the perfect day to wrap it up. As I work, I think about how far I've come, from the devastation of betrayal to the tentative steps towards something new. Life isn't perfect, and I know the road ahead will have its challenges. But for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful. I'm not defined by what happened to me. I'm defined by what I choose to do next. The weeks that follow feel like a quiet revolution. The routine I once dreaded has become something I look forward to, filled with small victories and moments of clarity. I've learned to enjoy my own company, to appreciate the peace that comes with leaving behind chaos. One day, as I sit on the couch admiring the coffee table I finally finished, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Claire. "Hey, still waiting for that call," winky face. I smile, her light-hearted message pulling me from my thoughts. I pick up the phone and type back, "How about dinner this Friday?" My treat. Her response is almost immediate. "You've got yourself a deal." For the rest of the week, I find myself anticipating Friday. It's a feeling I haven't had in years. Excitement, curiosity, hope. By the time the day arrives, I'm ready for something new, something different. We meet at a small, cozy restaurant downtown. Claire is just as engaging as I remember, her laughter infectious. Conversation flows easily, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I forget about the past. Sitting across from her, I'm not the guy who was betrayed or the guy who sought revenge. I'm just me. After dinner, we take a walk along the riverfront, the city lights reflecting off the water. It's calm, quiet, and strangely perfect. As we talk, I realize that this isn't just about her. It's about me learning to trust again, to open myself up to the possibility of happiness. When the night ends, Claire gives me a warm smile. "This was fun," she says. "Let's do it again soon." "I'd like that," I reply, meaning every word. As I drive home, I realize something profound. I've spent so much time looking back, holding on to anger and hurt, that I almost forgot what it felt like to look forward. But now, I'm ready. The house feels different when I walk in, less like a reminder of what I lost and more like a symbol of what I've reclaimed. The life I'm building isn't perfect, but it's mine. Every decision, every step forward, is mine to make. I sit on the porch with a glass of whiskey, staring up at the stars. For the first time in years, I feel a deep, unshakable peace. The road ahead is unwritten, but that's the beauty of it. I'm no longer trapped in someone else's game. This is my life, and I'm ready to live it. Have you ever faced betrayal and found a way to rebuild? Share your story below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.